a stormy night when the city streets were washed in cold rain and the shadows looked alive, a young man named Amir stepped out of a closed shopping mall and searched for a ride home, unaware that this night would carve fear into his memory forever. As he raised his hand, a lonely yellow taxi slowly rolled toward him, its headlights flickering like tired eyes, and its engine growling in a strange, uneven rhythm that made his skin prickle. And although something inside him whispered to wait, he pushed the feeling aside and opened the back door of the taxi and sat inside, hoping to escape the freezing rain. But the moment the door shut, he felt the air grow heavy, as if invisible hands were pressing on his chest. And when he looked up at the rearview mirror, he noticed the driver, an old man with pale, sagging skin, dull eyes, and a stiff neck that did not turn even slightly. And instead of greeting him, the driver simply started the taxi without a word, making Amir shift uncomfortably as the wet road stretched ahead under the trembling streetlights. And after a minute of silence, Amir tried to speak, but his voice cracked and he fell quiet again because the air felt wrong, like something was listening from the dark corners of the taxi. And as they drove deeper into the city, he realized the route was changing. They were not heading toward his home, but toward an abandoned industrial area where the streetlights slowly faded and the sound of the rain turned distant, as if the world outside no longer existed. And when Amir leaned forward to ask the driver where they were going, he noticed something chilling. The driver was not breathing. His chest did not rise or fall. His hands did not move naturally. And his reflection in the mirror stared back at Amir with unnerving stillness, as though it was not a reflection at all, but something else watching from the other side. And suddenly, the taxi engine roared louder, even though the driver never touched the pedals, and it began speeding through the empty road, while Amir clung to the seat, his heartbeat hammering in fear as the headlights illuminated ruins, broken walls, and twisted metal like the bones of a forgotten world. And then, without warning, the driver spoke in a low, distant voice that did not match his unmoving lips, telling Amir that no one who entered this taxi ever returned, and that the taxi had been roaming the city since the night the driver died in a crash many years ago, when he lost control on this very road, and his spirit became trapped inside the vehicle, hungry for company and desperate to escape its eternal loneliness. And as the voice echoed through the taxi, Amir felt the door handles lock on their own, and cold air swirled around his legs, as if unseen figures were crawling closer, whispering his name in broken, breathless tones. And when he shouted for help, the dead driver slowly turned his head, for the first time revealing hollow black eyes where no life remained, and a twisted grin spreading across his face. And the taxi suddenly swerved toward a deep ravine, as if ready to repeat the fatal crash. But at the last possible second, Amir forced himself to kick the door with all his strength, and to his shock, it flew open, and he threw himself out onto the wet ground, rolling down a muddy slope, while the haunted taxi continued forward and vanished into the darkness without sound, leaving only tire marks and eerie silence behind. And when Amir finally stood shaking, drenched, and bruised, he looked up to see the road empty, as if the taxi never existed. He knew the truth because its headlights still haunted his thoughts. And from that night onward, he warned everyone to never enter a taxi that arrives too slowly, stares too long, or feels too cold inside. Because some rides never take you home, they only take you where the dead are waiting.